Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? My name is Kent, and the channel is EOS San Diego, and I appreciate you watching this video. Tonight, I want to talk a little bit about, I've made some videos this week about, unfortunately, a scam where people have been losing EOS, and one of the scams is a fake telos site, and I've made several videos on this. And of course, we've got a lively discussion going on Telegram. We've been talking about this. And a number of people have told me about their stories, and there's quite a few stories out there, unfortunately, more than I've been putting on the YouTube. So please, people, be careful. There are scams out there that are trying to steal your EOS. Be very, very careful. You have to be so careful, as you are on the internet and everything else. Every time you're on the internet, there's always someone that's trying to possibly take advantage of you. I mean, my daughter has a lot of YouTube followers. She has a lot of subscribers. She has a lot of Instagram people, and there's always people trying to figure out, send her some sort of scam or some sort of way of getting her to do something that's going to, bring down her accounts, whatever. So you got to be very, very, very careful. But I want to talk about the fact that a lot of people have said that block producers or Block1 should step in and do something. And of course, I've been one of the people that have felt that there should be some support there. And that's true, because that's kind of the way the system was designed. But I want to go back and I want to read this disclaimer, because I went back and I thought about it today and I read the disclaimer, and I want to read it to everybody. So we all understand kind of where we're at with the Block1 EOS IO software and block producers, and really understand that it's functioning as designed, and it's kind of done what was supposed to be done, which is it's all community. And I'm going to read this right now. So please let me read this. I'll read it as well as I can. Sometimes I miss words. I know that's irritating, but here we go. Block.1 will not be launching any of the initial public blockchains based on the EOS IO software. It will be the sole responsibility of third parties, the community, and are those who wish to become block producers to adopt, implement EOS IO in the manner they choose, with the features they choose and or the services they choose. Block1 does not guarantee that anyone will adopt or implement such features or provide such services, or that the EOS IO software will be adopted and implemented in any way. So there you go. And I know this was it was a very big deal back in the beginning, because this disclosure really meant they didn't have to do anything, that they could take the money and not do anything. And of course, I believed that they would launch the software, as they have done. And of course, there were a lot of people that were telling everyone that EOS was a complete, was trying to take people's money and give them nothing back for it, and it would never launch. And it has launched, and it is running, and it's doing an amazing amount of, it's done an amazing amount right so far. I mean, as far as what they're doing to bring everybody together, the block producers around the world, to be able to have the software launch, to be able to have applications running, is amazing. So, but in issues of what we're going through with the phishing scams and so on and so forth, this is going to be up to community to take care of. That's why we started the fund, and that's why we're trying to help people, because we are community, and that's the way it should be. So anyway, I wanted to read that to people and make them aware, and say, I know we talked about arbitration, and I know we talked about ECAF and all these stuff like that, but it's not on Block1, and it's not on the block producers. It's on us as community to try to solve these problems. And that's kind of where we're at today. And I don't think much will probably change in the very near future. So anyway, there's the disclaimer. Just read it to you. You can see for yourself and understand that you're basically, what you do online is going to have to, you're going to have to be very careful as far as this stuff is concerned, because there's a lot of people trying to scam you out of your money or your coins. So anyway, we've got a fund going. I'll put the link to the fund if you want to donate it to it, and if you want to help us out. We're going to try to support people that have lost, because everybody's made mistakes, and we think it's going to make the blockchain more valuable As someone said today, when the scammers steal the EOS, they immediately dump it. So it's not helping the market for people to steal EOS. They're not holders of EOS. They're liquidators of EOS. So they're trying to liquidate this as soon as they get it. That's why it's so important to get to the exchanges quickly. Call the police quickly, because you got to stop them. You got to get those assets frozen at the exchanges. It's not going to be done by Block1, and it's probably not going to be done by the block producers. So that's why it's important. So you got to get it done quickly, and that's what you need to do. So please act swiftly if something happens. And also, like I said, we're going to try to support you. We've got a fund started. Hopefully more people donate to it, and we will try to make sure that this is a safe place to be. So that's what we're trying to do. So the next thing I really want to talk about is I want to talk about Platin organization. I guess Platin was what you would say is a decentralized proof of location protocol. This is very important, very big news, this Platin organization and this proof of location protocol. This is and hopefully I can pique your interest in this by talking to you a little bit about it. What the proof of location protocol is it's trying to put a physical location for digital assets all over the world. A lot of people cannot conceptualize Bitcoin because they don't understand digital currency. So they really relate back to an image, which is this Bitcoin image that everybody sees, that everybody knows what it looks like. The reason they do that is because they can't fully grasp the digital blockchain or what a digital asset is. So they need to grab to something that's a physical coin. Hence, somebody develops this Bitcoin image, and I think there's actually coins floating around, but that's not a Bitcoin. That's just a representation of a Bitcoin because people want something to put in their hand and hold, and so they can feel like it exists, because it can't exist if it's digital, because they don't understand the concept of a digital currency, because they're used to a currency or money being something they can put in their hand and hold and pass to another person. That's currency, and that's a hard thing for them to understand. That is what is going on with this protocol. This protocol literally is bringing together the digital world and the physical world. And the way they're doing that is they're mapping out the world in a sort of a proof of location mining protocol. So in other words, you can download, I think it's on Google Play. I can't do it because I have an iPhone, but they're gathering information by your cell phone, and they're actually mapping out the world in this proof of location protocol. And why they're doing that is because literally it's being able to go to a location and receive a reward, as you're seeing in this map. Every place you see right here where they've got a place where the coin is at, you go to that location with your iPhone or your cell phone or your Android, I'm sorry, and you can pick up this currency. You literally just swipe it and it goes through. You're there, and now it's on your phone. That is bringing together the digital world and the physical world. That is what needs to take place. That is what's going to take place in the very near future. Anybody can run a game on a server. That's not new. Putting games on servers and playing games on a server is not a new concept. Bringing the digital world and the physical world is a new concept. This is the gamification of life. This is being able to have time and place, and have those two things all together with the digital world. And the reason this is of interest to us is because that's what we do with our application, the challenge token. It's the gamification of life. It's having you show up at a certain time, certain place for a certain period of time and earning a reward. And this is the ability to have that reward actually be visual. So when you go to that, you see it, and you can see it and actually run up there. Not exactly sure how it works, but it goes out there. You put it out there, and it just gets put in your phone. And why this is so important is because And I'll give you, for instance, one of the things they're doing is it's a humanitarian effort. So if you have an earthquake or a flood or a hurricane in certain parts of the world, and you have people raising money in another part of the world, how do you get those resources to the part of the world that needs it? Well, you can't. You got to have some way. You know, it can get very expensive and hard to do, as you could see with the Puerto Rico hurricane and some other places. You know, the Puerto Rico gets wiped out, and virtually, you know, the very little resources get down to help the people in Puerto Rico. But with this, you could literally drop those resources on that location with this proof of location protocol. This is why this is so valuable and so important. You can put together the digital world and the physical world all together and make it happen. Not to mention how it would work in the real world, the business world. So literally getting people to show up someplace, the gamification of life, the influencing of behavior, and getting somebody to show up someplace and then having some physical looking at your words right there, swipe your phone and get it and claim it. That is what this is doing. This is really remapping the world. And this is bringing the digital and the physical together. This is the new protocol of the future. Bringing all this together and influencing everyday behavior. Not just being on a computer and playing a game, but being out in the real world and be able to claim rewards by being at a certain place. This is what's going on right now. And this has got to be done, because right now the GPS systems are basically very centralized with in very few hands. Of course, Google and a few others have all the GPS location information. We need to get it on the blockchain, and that's what this company's doing. The blockchain will make it more precise, more specific, and more accessible, and make it more reliable and make it more true to the location where you're at. I mean, if you have small rewards being gained, maybe the location isn't quite as important to be very precise. But if you have large rewards being gained, you need that location to be very precise. And that's what they're doing. They're making everything very precise on the blockchain with location. And that's a huge thing. I mean, if you're going to give out big money for some reward for something somebody does, or in some place where somebody's at, where you got to meet them there with the money, you got to show up with the money. You want to make sure it's the right person, the right place, and everything is accurate. And that's what they're doing. They're remapping the world on the blockchain with this protocol. And the reason this is, I mean, we were able to meet Platin, one of the founders, I believe, up at this San Francisco hackathon. He was there. In fact, I think he was at Rahman's event, Investing with a Difference. We presented the challenge token, and I believe they were there. I don't know if they presented it or not, but we were able to talk to them and meet them. And that's the first time I'd heard of this. But the reason I was the reason I got rethinking about this is because I saw the other day, actually it was just a day ago, on the 30th, where Block1 has given Platin an or have given them some money. They're actually investing in this protocol, which I think is very exciting. If you wonder where the 4 billion is, this is where the 4 billion is. It's going to this kind of technology, this kind of way of changing the future. And this is why this is so important. This is why I'm so passionate about EOS, because they're seeing the future happening, what's going to happen. And this is why they're investing in this kind of technology and this kind of stuff. That's why it's going someplace. This is why this is going to be something huge in the very near future. The biggest thing ever. And this, I think, is going to be bigger than anything else we've ever seen in the history of the world, because of this kind of technology that's starting to take off. The remapping of the world with precise geolocation software, where literally anybody can digitize any real world asset. You can take an asset and move it around on the blockchain by these kind of protocols, and literally marrying the digital world and the physical world together, and not having them separated anymore, like we have with Bitcoin. We have this physical representation of Bitcoin, then we have the real Bitcoin, which is digital. This protocol will be bringing everything together, the digital world and the physical world together. So this is a big deal. This is big news. This is big stuff, and it's very exciting. And I'm going to be covering this a lot more, because this is the future, and this is where it's happening. Just to give you a little bit of why I believe people struggle with this stuff is because people have a hard time in visualizing digital stuff. And and I'll give you a quick story about my wife. My wife is an attorney. And of course, my wife, when I were born in the 60s, we grew up in the 70s, went to school in the 80s. And all the time we were going to school, there wasn't much digital world. I mean, it was almost all real world books, papers. And that's the way everything got done, is you had a piece of paper, you had a book, you read it and everything like that. Well, as we transitioned to the digital world, and of course, I went to law school myself, but I never became a lawyer because of this. I wasn't really that in that world. I was more in the digital world because I enjoyed the digital world. My wife was still, she liked, she liked the, I guess she liked all the, the other stuff. Not that it's a difference, but, my wife could never really get into the computer thing as much as I did because I enjoyed computers and I enjoyed the technology. And of course, I was able to kind of be able to understand it. But my wife, when she first started doing stuff on a computer, would be working on a document on a computer. And if the document was on her screen, she was safe. But if the document was all of a sudden vanished from her screen, which it got minimized or saved to documents or something like that, she got worried that it was lost. Her thing was, oh my God, my document just got lost. It's gone, it's vanished. Of course, she would yell to me, come help her. And she just lost her document that she's worked hours on. And she needs to know where it's at. And the fact that it wasn't something she could physically hold on to troubled her. It took her a long time to transition from the fact that it's in a file on a computer, saved in someplace on the computer, and it's in a digital format, but it's still safe. Don't worry about it. It's not going away. It's not going to be lost. That she never could quite make that leap, that transition. But she has now, and of course, we all are moving more so into the digital world. And protocols like this will make it happen. And protocols like this are why the future is so exciting. And this is why I'm really excited about EOS. And the fact that they're recognizing this, they're a part of it. And this is going to be a way to make the world more efficient. It's going to make the world easier and to make the world better. And this is the future. So, exciting stuff. And I hope this piques some people's interest in it, because I'll be doing some more videos on this. I appreciate you watching.